everybody, welcome back to All That Glitters. This week's video is going to be another musical / theatre based video. I know that I've been doing a lot of these recently, but I just really want to share with you my love for musical theatre. I will have a light on in the background of this video, so I apologise if it reflects in my glasses. I don't quite know how to do it without it reflecting, as you can see now. So if I spin it this way, it's like, whoa, you can see me, but it reflects, so I'm sorry. So this week's video is going to be musicals I have seen on the TV or film, and either I really like them or I'm not much of a fan of them. So let's get started. So the first musical I saw on TV was Hairspray. I love Hairspray, the musical in general, and I love the message behind it. I think it's such a powerful musical when you delve into it. I mentioned that in, I think, a previous video where I talked about Hairspray and the fact that it has so many amazing connotations to it. So there's that. I really liked how it was portrayed. I really liked the fact that all the songs were sung really, really well. A lot of the time you get actors or actresses that do these kind of things. They have originated it from a stage production and brought it to the screen, and sometimes you don't get the power that you need behind a lot of it, and that can be a massive issue, like I'll talk about in some of the other ones I'll speak about in this video. And that can be quite hard, especially when you cling on to the stage production so much. But I actually think the film version, was really, really good, and I highly rate it. Next one is Into the Woods. I love Into the Woods. I think Into the Woods is an amazing musical. I think it's beautiful. But the film adaptation, I don't think was amazing. Now, bear with me. I think there are certain people within the film that were really, really cool. So James Corden, Emily Blunt, Meryl Streep. I think they were really, really good. But there are a lot of songs in there that I feel like needed more kind of energy, more oomph into them. And they took a lot of bits out of the film that they had on the stage. Now I understand that a lot of the time films, TV have to cut things down so it's a certain length of time. I understand that, but if you're going to do something like Into the Woods that many people have seen on stage and in the West End or Broadway or whatever, you need to make sure you do them kind of bits the justice that they deserve, because otherwise it's just going to look odd. And I also think they made like the film production a bit darker than the stage. That could just be me, but I think, I don't know. I do love Into the Woods though. I think it's really, really good, but it needed more kind of like energy into the songs. Next one is Les Mis. Okay, I'm going to be saying I love every single one of these in this video, so I'm sorry if I'm being repetitive, but I genuinely do. I love Les Mis. I think Les Mis, again, is a beautiful piece of musical theatre, and I love the fact that it's portraying history, and that especially younger children can learn through music, and I think that's such a cool way of learning things. I think everything should be taught through music. That's just me. But the film has had a lot of criticism about the way things are portrayed and stuff like that, and I understand that completely, because as I mentioned earlier with Hairspray, if you cling on to the stage production so much that you can't let go of it, and you watch an adaptation of it on the silver screen, then it can be quite hard for you to kind of latch onto that and give it the same amount of praise that you would the stage. As I said, it's quite hard to do that, especially when you're so obsessed with something. I think the film of Les Mis was actually really okay. I'm not saying it's really good. I'm saying it's really okay. I loved young Cosette. I loved young Eponine. I loved Eponine in general. I think Samantha Barks has an amazing voice. And I also think Amanda Seyfried. I don't know how to say her name, I'm sorry. I think she also has a beautiful voice. I think she's always had a good voice. And I think Eddie Redmayne has a good voice as well. I never knew he had that set of pipes on him. You know what I mean? I didn't really think of him as someone to be belting out tunes like that, and I thought that was really good. However, I think a lot of people have picked up on the fact that Helena Bonham Carter as Madame Thénardier, I think that's the character she played. I think the song that she sang needed more oomph. The way she sang it, if you can watch YouTube clips, it's very weak. It's very like it's like that. I don't know what she was trying to do, but she did the same with Mrs. Lovett in Sweeney Todd, which I'll go on to in a moment. But I feel like the song that she was doing needed more oomph. I know I keep saying that, but it really did need more kind of like togetherness. Otherwise, like, it just wouldn't work, kind of thing, you know? And I think it's just a bit meh. But I did really like it. I did really like Les Mis, the film, actually, unlike some people that didn't like it. I think Anne Hathaway singing I Dreamed a Dream was really emotional. I know a lot of people were like, nah, whatever. But I really enjoyed it. I think everyone has their own way of singing something. And as I mentioned, if you cling on to the same actresses, same actors that did it on the stage, and then you go to a film or whatever, or someone else does it, it feels odd, it feels different. But I feel like Anne kind of put her own kind of thoughts and feelings into her character, which I thought was really, really cool to see. The next film is Sweeney Todd. As I mentioned earlier with Les Mis, I think Sweeney Todd is a cool musical. I'm not as invested as some of them. That might be a bit odd, but I did watch the film adaptation of Sweeney Todd, and I do know the songs from it and the characters, etc, etc. I know a lot of people couldn't quite get their head around Johnny Depp being Sweeney. Understandable. To be honest, I've always seen Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow because I grew up with Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm probably the only person that associates him with that, but whenever he does an English accent, I always picture him as Captain Jack Sparrow. And I don't know, it's weird because I think he did a good job. Again, I feel like he put his own thoughts and feelings onto the way he would act Sweeney, which I think is really good. Again, Helena Bonham Carter is in Sweeney Todd, and like I mentioned when she was in Les Mis, I feel like she needs to have more energy and more power into the song, or the songs, more like plural, because, you know, I feel like, again with Les Mis, it was very weak. It was almost like she was speaking it, but with a slight tune, if that makes any sense. And it wasn't as kind of like wow as I kind of expected it to be. I was like, okay, that's how you do it, you know. I think there are a lot of actors and actresses in that film that did a really, really good job. But I feel as if, again, there is a lot of like weak singing. I feel like for certain characters like Mrs. Lovett, they need to have a lot of power into them. That's my opinion. The next musical I saw on film is Grease. I love Grease. I really, really do. I think Grease is amazing. I don't think I can fault Grease because I've watched it so many times. I know all the songs from it. I love all the characters. I'm obsessed. I think Grease 2... I'm going to be one of them people that says it was not bad, but it wasn't as good as Grease 1. They should have only kept with Grease 1 and that should have been it. Again, my opinion, but I feel like they should have just kept Grease 1 and it would all be good. That's my only opinion on Grease in the bad sense. I know there are so many musicals that have been made into film adaptations, such as Chicago and many others. But this is a segment of this video where I talk about the musicals that I want to be made into a TV show or a film, because I think that would be quite cool and interesting to see. I think Hamilton should be made into a film. But if they're going to do that, I think they should keep the original Broadway cast, just so that everyone can see Lin-Manuel Miranda on screen. That's all I need in my life. Just that to happen. I think it would be pretty awesome. Now, I was going to say Heathers, but I know Heathers is already a film. However, I think they should do it where if they do a film again, they add in the songs. In the original film, there was no singing. There was references and hints in the film, obviously, which would later be in the musicals. And I know there was a film before the musical. There was no musical, then film kind of thing. So it kind of like flipped it on its head. And I think a lot of people liked the fact that it was a film before it was a musical. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it can be quite hard to see something on stage for it all of a sudden to be turned into a film, and then everyone's kind of freaking out going, oh my god, what is happening? Just, whoa. Yeah, everything should be done like that. I think Miss Saigon should be turned into a film if it hasn't been already. I am obsessed with Miss Saigon. I think it's a beautiful musical. Again, learning history through music I think is awesome. And I think it's such a touchy subject, and I think it should be taught more. It's very emotional musical if you haven't already seen it or listened to the soundtrack. I think it's a gorgeous musical. I think it's very emotive, very powerful. So if they were to do it into a film, like I said with Hamilton, I would want the original Broadway cast, or London cast, because I know Eva Noblezada, and the guy that played Chris, I can't remember his name, I think it's Alistair somebody, I don't know. I think that should be a thing. I also think the Addams Family musical should be turned into a film, because boy, I would watch that. And that is the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a massive thumbs up. Next week will be beauty inspired, I promise. Bear with me whilst I kind of get back into the routine of it, and I will see you guys very soon for another video. Bye.